Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we got something a little bit different today, guys. What I have in front of you is a Traxxas Raptor R slider. And what do I mean by a slider? It came exactly how you see it right now in the video. So there's no tires, no body, no electronics. I mean, it's just the chassis. There is the lighting kit in there. For the most part, all of the suspension parts are in here. The diffs in the front and also in the rear are in here. Why did I buy this? I saw the release of the Raptor R. I like the truck. I love slashes. For you guys who have been following this channel, you know I have quite a few slashes, 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. So I was definitely going to get it. I don't like some of the things that Traxxas has done to it, and I felt I could do a little bit better with some of their own components and maybe some components outside of Traxxas. So I'm going to have a 3-part video, and today is the first part, which is going to cover the installing of sway bars, a center differential, and the Traxxas Ultimate shocks. These are 3 things that I thought the truck should have. You know, I love when my slashes have a center differential on it. So what I picked up was the metal housing and metal geared center diff. And I plan on putting this in to the truck. I haven't ran this in my slashes before. Normally I get the plastic one, but I'm going to see how this one performs. And that's mainly for what you guys plan on seeing me do to this truck later on. I picked up the Traxxas Ultimate shocks, and then lastly, I picked up the sway bars for the Traxxas Slash. Now, the reason why I'm not going to touch some of the other components that are on here, one, this truck has the HD components on here, so I'm not going to put metal on the hubs and you know, changing the drive shafts, because I feel that the truck has the capabilities of handling, you know, 3S with these components. No issues whatsoever there. So that's another reason why I'm not going to be touching the drive shafts. I'm not going to be touching the hubs, switching anything to metal in that stance. But I feel like these are some of the key components I would have liked to have, which is a Pro Scale kit with those components added to it. Or at least give us an option that we can get, you know, a little bit higher of a model with those components on it. Let's go ahead and get those parts installed. So let's get this started. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the sway bars first. Because I know I got to take off some of the components dealing with the shocks. So we're going to install the sway bars and then keep this going. Now for me, I've always found that using the silver ones as opposed to the black ones usually works out best for me. And that's because the silver ones are kind of for off-roading. I don't really drive my slashes other than my rally one on road. So for the most part, I'm going to go ahead and install the silver ones. The heavy duty ones, I don't think I'm going to need them unless I start to find out that I'm doing more on-road driving with this Raptor R. This is going to be your front, and this one's going to be your rear. And then for these shorter tie rods, you're going to have the shorter ones for the front. The longer ones are going to be for the rear. Since it is metal on metal, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of Loctite. I'm going to go back and do the other one too the same way, but I just wanted to test fitment for now. There we go, front one's all done, and then we're going to go ahead and get the rear ones done too. Once again, a little bit of Loctite. rears all lined up, and we got the front all lined up. Since I know I got to take these shocks off, I'm going to remove these shocks right now, and you guys know exactly what step number 2 is going to be. It's going to be me doing the shocks. Let's get these shocks off. I'm going to keep the screws because I'm going to reuse these. Not bad dampening. Doesn't feel bad. I actually like the dampening of these shocks. They feel pretty good. My only fear is with this wire, I wanted to keep it underneath it to kind of keep it secure, but I may move the wire above the sway bar so that it's not being pinched. Just keep an eye on that for yourselves, guys, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just gonna do some backtracking, and I'll cut back to this when I'm done. I saw that. That was cool. That was the sway bars actually acting and pulling in the suspension arms. That was really cool. All right, so let's keep moving. We're gonna do the rear. We're gonna go ahead and do the rear now and button up this part of the project. I'm gonna go ahead and just start removing the shocks. Keeping the screws, of course. Because I don't believe Jenny sent me the screws for this. I don't think so. I didn't look at it yet. But I don't believe they sent me the screws. I don't dislike these shocks that came with it. The rebounds feel really good. It's just preference. I like the metal body shocks more. I'm gonna go ahead and get these set screws in. So I'm gonna make sure I go under my wire. Little groove on the back side. And I'm gonna lock it into that groove. This is the groove I was talking about, so that you guys know there's a little groove right here where the sway bar sits. I just want to make sure that it's in there. Now I don't want to tighten these screws first because it's going to start moving the arms up and everything. I want as much play as I can right now so that I can flex and screw underneath the chassis. Some people, what they like to do is they like to take the rear clip off or the front clip off and do this. I like to do it as very little steps as possible, and because of that I will go ahead and not do those screws and give as much flex to the sway bar that I can, so I can put this in. But if you guys have not done this before and you're a little apprehensive of just cracking it open and doing it, Traxxas does provide, and I'll show you, some very nice illustrations, and comes in 2 different languages. So for those of you that never done this before, as I said, I've done this now probably on 2 to 3 kits from Traxxas. So this is not an issue for me, but for you guys who have not done this, this is how you do it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up these set screws, and then we should be done with the sway bar. Let's now work on getting the shocks in. And as I mentioned, they did provide me with the screws, so I'm gonna reuse these screws. These are the Slash Ultimate shocks. I just love how these feel. They got the nitrate drive shaft going down. They're just some really smooth performing shocks. These are the fronts. And just to show you, yeah, that's the fronts. Look at that rebound. It's okay. But now look at these. Butter. You gotta love these. But now I'm gonna install the shocks right on the same holes that they were previously. I want to see how it performs with the stock position. And then if I need to, if I want to get a little bit more control, I will then go ahead and change that. But for right now, we're just going to install it right back in the stock position. Here we are. Fronts are all done. Oh my gosh, these feel so good. Yeah, fronts are all done. Looking good. And now let's do the rears. Let's get these in. And as I've said before, I'm going to continue to use the holes that they were already in. One more to go, guys. One more to go. Thanks for being patient with me and staying along and watching this video. It's stuff that I love to do. I love to take sliders and make those into something I want. RTRs are great, but if these trucks aren't what we want out of the box, why should we accept them that way? Yes, sliders are going to be a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, you're going to end up spending the money. Especially if you get a truck and you're not completely happy with what's going to be on it. But here we are, all buttoned up, looking good. I'm liking to feel those shocks. Wow, that feels good. Let's get that transmission in. This is what we're working with. This slipper clutch assembly. Not bad for a beginner, basic driver. Not bad, but I like a little bit more. We're going to install. That's the part number. I'll try to put all part numbers in the description. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a 54 tooth. And these are mod 32 pitch gears. Let's get this installed. All right, that's feeling nice and good. Let's get this keyed and looking right into the rear transmission. And the beauty of that transmission, it already comes with diff fluid in there. I'll let you guys know what the weight of diff fluid is in it in a minute. And that's it. So we only need to remove these two screws here. And then these two screws here, and then the entire rear module comes right off. I did not need to remove these two and this screw here and these two screws here. I did not need to remove it to get this whole rear section off. And then that was it. And here we are with a center diff running very smooth. So that's it, guys. We're going to pull the camera back and then we'll close out the video. So here we are, guys, all done, all buttoned up. The slipper clutch assembly out. It is a composite spur gear, and it looks like it's also a 54 tooth spur that comes along with the truck stock. As I mentioned, I pulled out the stock shocks. Looks like, you know, the construction of them, the shock caps look a little bit different than what was standard on the previous slashes. I prefer the anodized ones, and that's why I went ahead and installed them. But we got the shocks off. As I mentioned in the install, they feel a lot more, I guess, stiff than I would prefer. And that could be, you know, you remove the preload that's in there, but yeah, I like these better. And I wanted to let you guys know what weight fluid is in the differential that comes from Traxxas. It's 1 mil. So you have 1 mil diff fluid that comes in that center differential. That's more than enough for me for a slash. It's not a monster truck. I think I'm going to enjoy what is going on here. Lastly, the sway bars. Hopefully you guys are able to see that, you know, the sway bars installed and looking really nice. I like how these perform. I like the Traxxas sway bars. They do a great job in the truck and keeping it stable. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this thing completed and getting this thing out. So we're done with phase 1 or video 1 of this build. Look forward to the next build. I'm not going to give you guys, you know, notices to what's going to be done, but next build is coming soon. For me, it's months. For you guys, it's just a matter of days or a week. But we're going to leave it here. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for our latest post to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.